Extraterrestrial life, life that may exist or may have existed in the universe outside of Earth or might be even living among us. The search for extraterrestrial life encompasses many fundamental scientific questions. But, are aliens real? We don't know for sure, but we have to believe. Outer space is a vast expanse that we have so much more to learn about, which is why it's hard to flat out deny the possibility that other intelligent life forms exist. Moreover, few even believe that aliens might be existing on Earth and living among us. Well, I have even seen one on live television. And his name is Alien de Villiers. Sorry. A.B. de Villiers. One man who made me wonder if he was really a human or a character from a superhero comic. Want to chase a steep target needing 149 off 44? Call this man. Want to save a match from the jaws of defeat by playing a defensive innings? Call the same man. One man who can make 8 fielders start at the boundary rope even in a test match. He creates such a pressure on the opponent team just before he hits those unorthodox shots. He crouches down like a tiger ready to pounce. Ready to devour the impending meal. A few seconds later, you see the ball flying off the willow towards someone in the back row. In this video, we shall be looking at the life story of one of the most destructive batsmen cricket history has ever witnessed. South Africa might be famous for diamonds, but this guy is a rare gem. A multi-talented man skilled in hockey, rugby, football, swimming, athletics, golf, badminton, tennis as well as science apart from cricket. And without further ado, let's begin the motivational success story of Mr. 360, A.B. de Villiers. Our story begins on February 17, 1984 in Warmbad South Africa when Abraham B. de Villiers and Millie de Villiers gave birth to a beautiful boy as their third son whom they named Abraham Benjamin de Villiers, more commonly known to the world as A.B. de Villiers or Mr. 360. But before proceeding further, I would like to add something. His dad was in the medical profession as a doctor and also played rugby to maintain his physical fitness. Since he was a doctor, he expected all 3 of his children to be fit and healthy. Though the first 2 loved playing outside their home, A.B. de Villiers was a lazy kid. A really lazy kid as described in interviews and talk shows. Finally I have got some competition for myself as well. Lol. Back to his childhood, de Villiers wanted to become a doctor just like his dad and studied with all his might and was an intelligent student. While days were going on, when A.B. de Villiers was 10 to 13 years old, he was relaxing one fine evening. But to disturb his relaxation, came one of his brothers who called him to play cricket outside due to shortage of one player in their neighborhood. After being forced, de Villiers went to play with his brother and his friends. That turned out to be a really bad decision as A.B. de Villiers dropped numerous catches in that game and surrendered lots of runs without any effort to stop the ball from reaching the boundary. He couldn't even catch balls which came straight to his own hands. From that day onwards, A.B. de Villiers was addressed as a worthless guy by his neighboring kids. He was bullied too much that one day, he decided to excel in the same sport and prove his neighbors wrong. But after lots of embarrassment he went home in disappointment and started crying out aloud in his home in front of his dad. His dad consoled him and took him to their backyard for practicing with him. His dad threw a few balls and asked A.B. de Villiers to catch them. But A.B. de Villiers wasn't able to catch even one. Even when A.B. de Villiers knew his inefficiency in fielding, his dad believed in his son. He knew that A.B. de Villiers was scared of balls that approach him as he thought that those balls might hurt him. Here was where de Villiers' dad gave him a life-changing advice. When you are weak in something, don't try to improve yourself in the same aspect. Because the best answers come from the unexpected places. After saying this, he asked de Villiers to play rugby because a rugby ball is much larger than a cricket ball and playing rugby would reduce his fear over fast balls. Also rugby players fall over another and dive often for goals. Therefore, playing rugby might also make AB de Villiers' diving and fielding skills exceptional. And it did. After playing rugby, de Villiers went to play with the same neighbors who once bullied him and showed off his exceptional fielding skills. People were amused if that was really the same de Villiers. But wait. Don't get too happy. Problems followed. De Villiers was able to field balls, but not throw them to the wicketkeeper or hit directly at the stumps. The balls he threw after fielding were falling too short to the stumps, and people made fun of him again by calling him a weak boy. This time, de Villiers knew that his dad had a solution to this problem as well and went back crying and asking his dad for throwing practice. But this time, his dad took him to a swimming pool. De Villiers was confused and told his dad to give him throwing practice, not swimming practice. But his dad told de Villiers to believe and abide by what his dad says. So, de Villiers went to swim, and in a couple of weeks, his arms became much stronger as a result of continuously moving his hands in water and in the process of pushing thick water behind. And when he went back to play cricket, he was able to throw balls with high power. Similarly, he found answers to all of his problems in unexpected places, as his dad told. And while playing his natural game, he also was highly intelligent in academics and was educated in Pretoria along with former captain Faf du Plessis, who was and still remains his good friend. While his fielding was good, he also was interested in batting. To such an extent that in few matches when he was 5 years old, his neighbors would promise him a few overs after their games were over if AB de Villiers agrees to become a water boy and brings them drinks while batting. Since then, de Villiers was ready to carry drinks into the pitch just to bat those few overs. Such was his love for the game. Even when he was successful in other games like rugby, football, swimming, 100-meter sprint, golf and badminton, apart from cricket, he was confused which sport to take up as his career and consulted his dad. When his dad told de Villiers to play the sport he loved the most, de Villiers took up a cricket bat after reminiscing the times when he turned into a water boy just for those few overs. And since he lifted his bat, there was no end to his remarkable cricketing career. After remarkable performances in the domestic circuit, he was named in the South Africa U19 team, and after miraculous performances there as well, he was purchased and offered chances to make a name for himself by a team named the Titans 2003. After spectacular performances for the Titans, a 20-year-old de Villiers made his debut for the Proteas on 16 December 2004 against England at Port Elizabeth and grabbed the attention of public with a punishing knock while opening the batting. In the second test, he was demoted down the order to number 7 batsman and played a match-saving innings in the game apart from filling the shoes of a wicket-keeper batsman. Soon followed a series at Caribbean where he scored 178 to help the Proteas seal a series win. Soon his rapid progress began as he began conquest to be one of world's best cricketers. He became the second fastest South African to reach 1,000 test runs. Soon, de Villiers also gained the reputation of being an outstanding fielder, which was triggered by a diving run out of Simon Kaddish in 2006, when he dived to stop the ball away from the stumps and tossed it backwards over his shoulder to effect a direct hit. This also led people to compare him with John T. Rhodes, who is regarded the best fielder in the history of the sport. From being called by neighbors the worst fielder ever, to being compared with the greatest fielder of the world, de Villiers has come a long way. Soon arrives the 2007 Cricket World Cup when de Villiers scored 4 50s during the season. His maiden ODI century came in form of a blistering 146 from just 130 balls including 5 sixes and 12 fours, in the Super 8 game against West Indies on 10 April 2007. He had to bat with a runner for the latter stages of his innings and found every shot painful due to a combination of cramps, heat exhaustion and dehydration. But, he did it for his nation. His innings consisted of a second-wicket partnership of 170 with Jack Callis and a third-wicket partnership of 70 with Herschel Gibbs. De Villiers' innings helped set up a total of 356 fourths from 50 overs. He was also named the man of the match for this innings. A year later, in April 2008, de Villiers became the first South African to score a double century with a knock of 217 against India. Indians would have been unhappy. But that day, Indians celebrated de Villiers' unorthodox shots. Another valuable knock of his came in the form of 174 that helped his national side to set up a 10-wicket win for South Africa in the second test against England at Headingley Carnegie in Leeds in July 2008. This was followed by a 97 at the Oval. Soon, in the first test in Perth, de Villiers scored a match-winning century to help the Proteas chase down the second-highest ever fourth innings target of 414 with 6 wickets left. That was also South Africa's first test victory in Australia in 15 years. More importantly, it was also a major win as Australia was the most dominant team in international arena then. De Villiers also took 4 diving catches in the course of the match, including a stunner at backward point. With many such exceptional knocks over the next couple of years, de Villiers showed up traits of being one player who could send shivers to bowlers, fielders and opponent captains. He was then inducted at the South African squad for the 2011 World Cup, where he scored 2 successive centuries and became the 5th batsman to score 2 consecutive centuries in a single World Cup tournament. Following the World Cup, on 6 June 2011, South African coach Gary Kirsten announced that AB de Villiers would be South Africa's new limited overs captain. Though de Villiers had never captained any first-class side before, he took up the responsibility as an inexperienced player. In the 2012 Test series against Sri Lanka, he scored a century in the form of 160 not out, leading to South Africa's victory in the third, which was also the series decider. He was also named the player of the series as he scored 353 runs at an average of 117.66. And in his first match as a captain, South Africa inflicted the heaviest defeat in Sri Lankan history, with an enormous 258-run win at Parla on 11 January 2012, which also went on to be the largest margin of victory by runs in an ODI match between 2 non-associate teams. South Africa went on to win the ODI series, and de Villiers was named player of the series, having scored 329 runs at an average of 109.66 with a high score of 125 not out in the 5th game at Johannesburg. During his first few years, de Villiers was kept in various positions for fielding. And his fielding was exceptional as he practiced in the way his dad asked to. Though his fielding was outstanding at all positions, he was not able to react quickly to grab catches at the slips. But this time, de Villiers didn't ask his dad what to do. Because he remembered his dad's words: when you are weak in something, don't try to improve yourself in the same aspect. Because, the best answers come from unexpected places. This time, de Villiers stacked a few blocks one over the other and asked his teammates to hit balls at the edges of the blocks. And when the ball deflects from the edge, de Villiers tried to catch each one of them. Through such practice, he also became a good fielder at the slips. On 10 July 2012, de Villiers was also handed full-time wicket-keeping duties after legendary batsman Mark Boucher announced retirement from cricket. In February 2013, de Villiers equaled Jack Russell's record of most dismissals in a match, which is 11, and also scored in 103 off 117 balls, remaining unbeaten in South Africa's second innings of the same match. In this process, he became the first wicket-keeper to score a century and claim 10 dismissals in the same test. On January 18, 2015, he scored both the fastest 50 and the fastest century by a batsman in the history of ODI cricket, off 16 balls and 31 balls respectively, and eventually scoring 149 runs off 44 balls against West Indies. After this, he was also inducted into the South African squad for the 2015 World Cup, and he was one of the top performers at the 2015 Cricket World Cup, scoring 482 runs at an average of 96.0 and strike rate of 144. On 27 February 2015, de Villiers scored 162 runs off 66 balls in a match against the West Indies at Sydney and boosted his team's total to 408, which is also South Africa's second highest total in World Cup. With this feat, he became the record holder for the fastest 50, 100 and 150 in ODI history. Under the captaincy of de Villiers, South Africa qualified for the playoffs of the 2015 World Cup. but lost to New Zealand in the semi-finals. He finished the tournament as the third highest run scorer of the tournament with 482 runs. At the end of the tournament, he was ranked number 1 in the ICC batsman rating in ODIs and number 3 in tests. He was also named in the team of the tournament for the 2015 World Cup by the ICC. But how can I speak about de Villiers without speaking about his impact on IPL? Since joining the league in its inaugural season, de Villiers has become one of the most successful and most loved batsmen in the league. After originally being bought by Delhi Daredevils, he moved to Royal Challengers Bangalore for $1.5 million in the 2011 season. 3 of his 4 2020 centuries have come in the IPL, and as of June 2019 he has played in over 150 matches in the league. He has played match-winning innings for RCB and shown some destructive batting against bowlers, especially in the death overs, including 90 not out against Delhi in 2018, 79 not out against Gujarat Lions in the 2016 qualifiers, 89 not out against Sunrisers Hyderabad in 2014, and even helped RCB chase 65 off 28 balls in 2012 with a 17-ball 47 remaining not out. But one knock that stays close to the heart of every fan's mind came in 2016 when he scored 129 not out in just 52 balls and helping RCB posted a humongous total of 248 against Gujarat Lions. Other than the IPL, de Villiers has played franchise T20 cricket for Brisbane Heat, Barbados Tridents, Chwane Spartans, Pretoria Mavericks, Rangpur Riders, Middlesex, and Lahore Qalandars in leagues across the world. Focusing on his personal life, he married Danielle Swart, otherwise called Danielle de Villiers, in April 2013, and the couple welcomed their first child Abraham de Villiers in 2015 and second son John Richard de Villiers in 2017. His autobiography, titled AB the Autobiography, is highly rated by readers and has more than 4.5 stars to its name, as it is highly inspiring. And what we can learn from Mr. 360's life are the words from his dad: when you are weak in something, don't try to improve yourself in the same aspect. Because the best answers come from the unexpected places. With this thought, I would like to end today's video. I will see you in another video. Till then, goodbye.